Yeah.
So, no, we don't need it. We don't need it.
Well, one thing that I thought would be nice if each one would.
Speak up,
tell-
remember.
Are we
speak
on?
up.
Are we on?
You're
now?
on right now.
Oh, okay.
You're on.
Right on.
Okay, what would you thought would be nice?
Well, I thought it'd be nice.
As a
if-
senior citizen of this household, you get this talk first.
Oh, thank
What
you.
was it you were
thank
going to tell us?
Yeah, some things happen good when you get older. Okay, I was thinking it'd be nice if we told about maybe one of the first memories that we can remember as a child, and then maybe we could tell something about how we felt about ourselves. I can't say that I've got anything planned on that, but I thought it would be interesting if we and how we felt, even towards the different members of our families, something like that.
Like we hated them all?
No, nothing but love.
No, of course. Well,
All right, how about you starting, Doyle?
I don't know.
Can you think of any? Well, who can think of a
My earliest recollections?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it had to be down in Blythe. Can't remember any particular incident except that we used to go fight those little black kids. Of course, make sure he was alone. And Loyal was backup.
Laurel was the
That's all I
backup.
can-
That's about the only time that he didn't chase you away.
Oh, that's so?
Following him. Oh.
Well, there was a time up there that would have been later, up at Sugar Pine, where Dad told us not to go up the hill. I mean, not to go up the hill, but follow Loyal.
Uh-huh.
And,
He told you to follow me, huh?
and so one time Loyal and his friend started up the little road, and I started to follow him. But Dad caught me and about 300 yards away, and he spanked me all the way home. I ran just as hard as I could. I could not outrun him.
I wonder why.
I think that's the only time he ever spanked me.
Really?
I think so. Only time he ever had to.
Oh, yeah. The only time he found out,
Yeah,
right?
probably.
Okay. And how did you feel about yourself? Did you like
I have
yourself?
those were way before these psychological.
Well,
type
no,
of
but
stuff.
you must have known if you were happy or
I
if you
was
were...
happy, sure. I was always happy. We always find something to play
But we
with.
never knew any better.
That's right. We didn't know you'd be sad. I mean, well,
You had food and you had a mommy that loved you. and-
sure. What about? Okay, well, you don't need to do a lot of that, I suppose. Okay, well, what about
How
you?
about you, Lowell? Can you think of what's your earliest one of your earliest recollections?
Well, I suppose when we lived around Madeira. But now, did we live in Madeira after we lived in Blythe?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so.
Sure. I was born in
No,
Blythe.
we were born. Oh,
We
I
kind of
see.
moved back. I think.
Well, I remember when we lived in Blythe. But
Yeah.
did we go back to Blythe again later on?
we must have, because we didn't live there 5 years straight, did we?
No.
I don't. Well, Dad was working on building that bridge across.
The river. You mean
the river?
the one that washed out?
Oh,
No
I
fault of
I
his.
thought it was a new bridge that connected California and the
With
state
Arizona.
next. Was it Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona.
What did you say it was the other day?
Oh, it's Arizona.
Oh,
Yeah,
I guess I
Arizona.
said it was the different
So,
state.
did he-
But he
was-
worked on that
was
for
that
a
the highway
long
bridge?
time. Oh, yes.
That's Miss.
When I went to Lester and I, we went down to Arizona when we lived down there. We went down to see Mother, and I that was the bridge right there. I looked at it. And,
That's so
And,
still
yeah.
standing, eh?
yeah, he did a good job.
Well,
Okay,
what do you
go
remember about
ahead,
Sugar
Laura.
Pine, Lowell? Or you
Well,
can,
No, he
or-
was remembering about Blythe. What do you
Well-
think? Or Madeira.
No, I guess what I remember most about Blythe is when we lived there, just before going back to Oklahoma.
Oh,
Do you remember rescuing her when you all
Yes,
went
I
around?
remember.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah, I remember.
I wonder if that newspaper is still in business. Well, I mean, a lot of newspapers are.
mean,
that's not.
you mean
what?
70 years ago?
Well, certainly, that's not unusual. I don't remember the name of the Blythe newspaper. I have no idea what it was.
No, that would be interesting to see that.
Roof at night.
So, well,
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, it was so hot, you went up on the roof at night with a wet blanket.
oh, that's
And the
all.
nudie.
Oh, sure.
Well, we didn't you wouldn't. Wearing underwear or anything to sleep in would aggravate the situation.
Well, the humidity now is much worse than it was then.
Yeah,
So it's probably even worse now.
probably. Yeah.
Back through there. quite a few years ago, and I almost killed them, you know, because I remember having to jump from one clump shade from a clump of mesquite or rather tumbleweed or something to another, otherwise you'd burn your feet.
But what I remember most about Blythe is, let's see, I was about eight years old, maybe 8 or something. Was the air rifles?
Okay, you can look at the monitor if you want to. The monitor's right there. I mean,
You mean like
Well,
the air guns? Or the like?
Well, we would always, with an air rifle, we hunted for birds. I don't think I ever killed one. I might have hit one once and I felt terrible about
well,
it.
an air rifle's pretty inaccurate.
Yeah. But we'd, there'd be nights when this fellow and I, his name was Melbourne Faber, we would spend the whole night away from home. And we would sand was always warm at night, but as the night progressed, it got cold.
Yeah.
So then we'd sort of dig a little place in the sand, but when it got cold, we would go over to the cotton gin, and where this big cottonseed pile, and we would cover up in that. That was always warm.
No, I think my earliest recollection was one time. I'm about two or three. I got this little girl. We went out in the sand dunes.
Oh no, you shouldn't tell that girl.
They caught us, and boy, they spanked our little behind. But you know, there's rattlesnakes and stuff out there. It wasn't, you know.
Oh, we thought that was for something else.
Yeah.
But I also remember the downtown Blythe and the theater. Of course, there's one theater, and that's quite vivid in my memory. But I guess that's just one of the highlights of my life.
You used to sneak in when you could.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Yeah, because I remember we tried. I don't remember if we ever did, but so. What do you remember about Oklahoma? When we moved
Well,
back there?
when I think about Oklahoma, I think about going on the trap line, you know, for the possum and rabbits and whatnot.
Why didn't you stand by the freeway and pick them up off the road?
We didn't have freeways. That was before freeways.
There's more possum now, I think, than there were then.
Yeah, I remember of course, there were no cars in town. You know what I mean? There were no cars in town.
Yeah.
And
what did you do?
When we would I would go to town, Coleman, with a sack of corn, which would take to the miller, and the miller would mill it, give me back part of it, and he would take a share for his milling, and I'd take it back home. This was on a horse.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember? Of course, anytime you went any place, you went on a horse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I remember when all my uncles were trying to make whiskey. They took of course, unbeknownst if their grandma knew about it, she had raised Cain, but they did something with the potatoes, and then they went out and buried it under the barn floor. I guess waiting for it to ferment or something. I don't know how that ever come out.
Well, Dad used to make beer there in Chowchill. That was after you had left. You'd left, you know, with Mother. And those beers would pop off every now and then.
I've had experience.
All about the time he made beer and it popped off.
Oh.
Yeah, in a warm night, we would be laying in bed, and boom!
Oh, where was this?
North Seattle.
Oh, that's so.
North.
Well, why? Was there something wrong with the bottle
No,
or
there's
what?
nothing there. We just we didn't time it properly or something. Nothing wrong with the caps. Maybe there was we didn't let it sit long enough before we bottled it.
Oh, you mean that house that you built there?
Was that what it was? Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah. Yeah. If I'd came out to got you today, I'd taken and showed you that house that I built.
Still there.
Would it look the same?
Exactly the same.
Is that
The shakes are the same color, and of course, I'm sure it's been reshaked since then.
Well, where did you meet Ruth first?
In Salem.